Hello everyone, this is Marina. Chris has asked me to introduce this week's episode of the Randomiser to you, using that text-to-speech thing he got me for Christmas a few years ago. You see, he left recording this week's introduction until the last moment, as he often does, then after he did it realized he had made a mistake and introduced the wrong episode by accident. Yes, that is a thing that can happen. It's too late to fix it now, and he is too embarrassed to admit it, so he asked me to come out here and introduce this week's episode to you. He is too busy crying to do it himself. I don't mind. It gives me a chance to say hi, and also to point out what a fool he is, which cannot be overemphasized. It's bad enough you have to listen to it, but I have to work with him. But if I don't, who will? So with apologies for there not being a proper introduction, although I'm sure I've done a much better job than he could, I am delighted to reveal that this week's episode is Gunfight at Oaky's Corral. Here's Terrahawks. Stop crying, Chris. I've taken care of it.
So, welcome back to Terrahawks on the Randomiser. It hasn't been too long since we were last here. Actually, for me, it feels like quite a while since I've done this, actually. I have taken a break from recording the Randomiser for, I suppose, the best part of a month, really. But you guys wouldn't know that because you get a new episode every week. And here is... Oh, I love this. Zero out in the field looking for some cubes.
10-10, Zero.
And he has...
Roll on. That was close.
Zero, come in.
I found him, sir. One of the swine just destroyed my helmet.
Presumably he has made himself a little hat for the occasion. A very, very important looking hat. That's trashed now. Oh, there they are.
That's 4.
Sergeant Major? Are you all right?
Yes, Mom. I'm drawing their fire in order to ascertain the number of the enemy.
And a nice example of Zero's bravery, which is going to be a theme through this episode. Also, his decision, oddly, to
I'm alone. They've shown them
to take on all these cubes as the only Zeroid in the battlefield.
Let's give it to him, sir, in capital letters.
Zero,
Of course, he's not the only one out there,
send in the battle tank.
because we have the battle tank.
Battle tank, roll out.
Yes, I love this stuff. I just love watching the battle tank rolling over the terrain, and it's always normally a pretty barren terrain. There's
Sergeant Major Zero.
plenty of
Alter course to 142.
dead or very dry trees they can flatten along the way.
That's it, lads. Hold that heading.
It's a very nice looking vehicle, actually, the battle tank, considering there's not a lot to it. It's very simple,
Roll out of.
and yet it works extremely well.
Sergeant Major, get out of there.
Too late, Mom. Digging in.
Zero nearly got flattened by the battle tank there. Oh dear.
Sergeant Major? Sergeant Major, report.
Oh.
Still in one piece, Mom.
And I think that's a rather nice integration of the effect shots there and I guess the shots of Zero could be considered live action. Because he is a machine, you kind of forget at times like that he is actually being shot on the puppet stage, not on the model stage. But now the battle tank is making very short work of these cubes. Lots of explosions going on all around it, but it just keeps on rolling.
Guys, give it to him, lads!
That's it, yeah, that's the spirit. Oh, lovely big explosions. That's 2 more cubes gone.
They can dish it out, but they can't take it, sir. Enemy destroyed.
Well done, Sergeant Major.
Oh, thank you, Mom.
All right, let's clean up the area and get back to Hawk Nest.
One thing I do find odd about this episode, this particular encounter, in fact,
10-10, sir.
how did these cubes get to Earth? How did these cubes get to be in Badwater County? Well, there's no time for that, because we're heading on over to this shack in the middle of nowhere, home of one Sam Oaky. And from there we are heading to Sheriff Bull's office. This is his first appearance on the Randomiser of Sheriff Bull.
You have a storm over your side?
You mean rain? Not since last winter.
Well, I could have sweared I heard thunder.
No way, Sam.
And Sheriff Bull, I may have
Maybe I'll go.
I may have given this fact away in I think one of my Terrahawks episodes. He's one of my favourite characters on this show.
Know if you find a snowball.
Because it's just, I don't know, the idea of a sort of very inept police officer.
That you, Kilroy?
It's quite an unusual angle for an Anderson
Must have been Patrolwoman Holland.
show to take. Everyone's normally very competent, very good at their jobs, and here we have an entire police department staffed by the most useless people imaginable. It's quite Simpsons-esque in that sense, the Badwater County Police Department.
My helmet blown to pieces.
Of which more later.
Had come to give the fateful order.
But I thought Dr. Ninestein was in command.
Well, he was in a manner of speaking.
Zero's recounting his exploits to Zeroid 2-1, the stuttering Zeroid.
I thought you said you were in the ground, Sergeant Major.
Because this was just before that point where
Where are you, Zero?
where they'd thrown Dee's Wheat into the mix.
Rather angry.
Like literally only an episode or two before.
I'd better go.
Zero?
So 2-1 and 5-5 were
He does sound a little irate.
were sort of tryouts for a proper sidekick for Zero. Never quite made it.
The only fire I see, sir, is the fire in your eyes.
We have a problem. You reported 6 cubes out in that desert.
Yes, sir. Definitely 6.
Hawkeye's been working on the pieces you collected. We can account for 5. 1 cube is missing. We're going back. I want that cube located.
Hawkeye gets all the best jobs. I don't think he's even in this episode, actually.
10:50.
10-10, Mom.
Yeah, we often hear, and before he disappears for the second series entirely, we often heard off-screen adventures of Hawkeye, where he's either doing really dull stuff like putting pieces of debris back together, or he's getting reprimanded for... Was it... You disciplined Hawkeye for failing to log a service report. I want to say that was in Close Call, but poor old Hawkeye doesn't have a very good time of it, by and large.
I found it lying near this rock. Well, I tell you, it's the darndest thing I've ever seen.
Sam's got
For tomorrow, Sam, and take a look.
an interesting find. He's reporting to the sheriff. What could it be?
I guess I'll sleep on it.
Oh, it's most of a cube. Looking very beat up, but no less scary. Oh, and there it lights up. Again, there's something quite effective with the... I think the earlier episodes of Terrahawks were quite good at making the cubes seem rather sinister, especially in that scene there where there's almost no light, just the cube pulsating in the corner.
For a moment, I thought one of the cubes. No, it's nothing.
And an interesting hint there that Zelda has some kind of telepathic contact with the cubes.
Sandstone jelly, I think.
Young Star's got more important things on his mind, of course.
Granite crunchies with a sugaring of quick lime.
Zelda! Stop him! I'm thinking. Be quiet.
Yeah,
Again, this is Young Star in his
plan has failed.
his transitionary phase from
Plans have failed.
mastermind with plans of his own to
Yourself.
a glutton with no mind at all.
Gluttonous wretch.
Oh,
Let that be a lesson to you.
oh, they've brought that battle tank back to the desert, and this is an episode that establishes the town, I suppose you'd call it, of Badwater.
Port Vector Search.
Or the county of Badwater, rather. I'm never sure if what the town itself is called. And it made sense, I suppose, for the show to include some kind of area, because it was obvious that they didn't have the budget to show, I think I've discussed this before, full cities, and especially interesting landscapes, because that would have cost money. So there were a lot of deserts. So if you're always going to go back to the desert, why not make it the same desert? Why not make it the same area and sort of build that up a bit? Which they establish it all here, and then they don't really go back to it till the second series.
Listen to me, Earthling. You will hear only my voice, and you will obey.
I will obey.
Oh, Zelda has got control of,
Actions in every detail.
well, a sort of rather old hick, to all intents and purposes. Probably not a whole lot she can do with Sam Oaky. But perhaps it's not the use she can make of him, it's the use she can make of him in order to trap somebody else.
There's not much more we can do, Tiger.
Yeah. Except, expect the unexpected.
Yeah, that's not very constructive, though, is it?
Dr. Ninestein.
What is it, hero?
We monitored a weak radio signal. Our computers have cleaned it up.
I'd like you to hear it.
We're listening.
Listen to me, Earthling. You will hear only my voice, and you will obey.
That's as clear as we can get it, Doctor.
Can you give us a fix on the location?
We can't pinpoint it, but it's certainly within 20 miles of your present location. Thanks, Hero. We need to widen the search area. And as Terrahawks is a secret organization, we need to move around less conspicuously.
So?
Incognito, Sergeant Major.
Mom?
There he is.
How long do you think it'll take us to get there, Tiger?
Well, let's see.
Depends where we're going.
I think we're in Cognito. I think we're in Hudson.
Very droll, Sergeant Major.
Again, I like moments like that where it sounds like Zero genuinely didn't get the joke until that wonderful little Windsor Davies chuckle at the end. Meanwhile, Sam's been very busy.
Followed my instructions, and you have done well. So well, I have decided not to kill you. Yet.
Oh, she's so generous.
Have you some devious plan, my most devious mother?
I might have.
Yes, he's been... whatever he's been doing, it's involved some wood and some red paint, which will be revealed later. Meanwhile, as Hudson speeds through the county...
There's Kilroy!
There's Kilroy!
I got a live one, Sheriff. Gray Rolls Royce. Must be doing 100.
100?
Oddly enough, introduced in this episode, but not seen. We only hear him radioing in messages to Sheriff Bull.
Strange looking dude with a big, shiny, bald head.
Mistaking Zero for the driver of Hudson, of course.
Speeds in my county.
Don't lose him, boy.
Shall I endeavor to lose this particular arm of the law?
Well, why don't you do that, Hudson?
Yes, sir. Might I be so bold as to suggest that I alter my appearance by way of a disguise?
Very good. I like that. Good thinking, Asa.
Zero, shut up.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Oh my goodness, I love Windsor, I love the Sergeant Major.
The fire in my eyes.
And I love his relationship with Tiger.
Right, sir.
Yes.
Not always, at times it was just slightly too me.
I've lost sight of him, Sheriff.
Oh dear.
Must have been touching 130.
Suffering rattlesnakes. Hollins, where you at?
This here's Patrolwoman Billie Jean Hollins.
Yeah, Patrolwoman Billie Jean Hollins, here she is.
My present location.
Another character who is introduced in this episode, does not appear in person, we only hear her over the radio.
Kilroy is in.
But we never see her again after this episode.
Rolls color.
Oddly, we did just see Colonel Johnson's helijet was parked outside a building there for some reason.
And listen.
Sheriff Bull, Rolls Royce just went by like a rat up a drain pipe. Color red.
What color you say?
I said red. I'm going after it.
Oh, I love this stuff. It's so silly.
In 20 years, I've never seen one. Now we got 2 Royce's Rolls in Badwater County.
And of course, I can't let all this, all these scenes around the sheriff's office go
Get in here.
go by without mentioning something very important.
My name's Ninestein. This is Mary Falconer.
You with the military?
Special services.
How can I help you folks?
Because in the Terrahawks auction last November, there were several items from Sheriff Bull's office up for grabs, and among those were the red telephone on his desk desk that we saw him talking to Sam Oaky on earlier,
On the military.
and the 2 diplomas from his office wall.
Well,
And something very interesting happened to both those sets of items.
he'd found some strength.
I bought them.
while I was out in the desert.
That's right, because I love this character so much.
Thing you're looking for.
What's his name?
And I couldn't begin to tell you why, other than I
Oaky.
I think they did some very funny things with him when they brought him back in the second series. So here we are. I actually have it right by my microphone here. Here is Sheriff Bull's telephone.
Woman Billie Jean Holland.
It's in the plastic bag because unfortunately the paint is kind of flaking off the fleck, so I don't want to remove it too much. But there's the telephone, the very same telephone that's seen in this episode and when he returned in the second series.
It was parked right outside the station.
I mean, it's a fairly standard prop, but what I find interesting is it's got screw holes and the remains of a sticky pad on the bottom of it, presumably used to hold the phone to the desk so that when the puppet was using it, it didn't fly off everywhere with his hand movements. I also got from the auction, yes, the 2 diplomas from Sheriff Bull's office wall. And we've covered those on a previous Fab Fact on the podcast. One is his Law Enforcement Officers Academy training course in police brutality, and the other one is his diploma to certify that he has never seen a Rolls-Royce in Badwater County, thus reflecting the events of this episode. And again, you can't see these on audio, but you can hear them. There you go. I hope that that was enjoyable for you.
Need to talk, Ninestein.
And yeah, slightly, I suppose it says something about this episode that I can say more about the props used in it than I can about the story as such, because it's not really
Life is in my hands.
too interesting. I mean, I don't really care about Sam as such. I'm not really invested in
What's your proposition?
in his plight.
To the death. You,
Tiger's now got to go in exchange for Sam.
representative.
So going back to Sheriff Bull's telephone, I was rather pleased to find, actually. I knew that it was his regular telephone in this episode when he came back in the second series, but I was surprised to see it turn up in Hawknest in the White House a couple of times in season 1. I think it's in the Christmas episode, and it's in Zero's Finest Hour and My Kingdom for a Zeef, possibly. So it's a very versatile prop for a basic telephone made of wood.
Well, I guess it's going to be a gunfight at Oaky's Corral.
Tiger, it's suicide.
So yeah, basically I waffled all over what amounts to...
Get Sam Oaky out of that cabin as soon as you can.
Yeah, they're going to send in Tiger to in exchange for Sam. And what looks like there, a very rare shot for Terrahawks, actual outdoor location filming. There's a shot of a cactus framed looking up at the sun, and those were real clouds. That was the real sun, and those were real clouds. Very unusual for this show.
It's you and me, you cubic freak.
Oh, but yeah, I can't say this is an especially thrilling showdown. Well, there we see Sam Oaky's, the products of his long night's work.
Trap! That's not a real cube.
Oh, thank you.
Mommy.
Oh, right.
Back, Mary. I'll handle it.
But thank you for explaining the obvious. Yeah, it's made of wood and painted red. Or painted with the little red mouth thing on. And there's another one, which he's also wasted 2 shots on.
Dummy.
So, yeah, it's not an especially thrilling climax.
Where's the real one?
I like that it's shot like an old western, especially that shot of Tiger's feet there. Also, that brief moment of us hearing his thoughts there when he said, "Where's the real one?" He didn't move his mouth. Oh, tripwire.
Put in the right place, Captain.
And another wooden Zeroid, wooden cube even.
Are you enjoying our little confrontation, clone?
No tricks, hey, Zelda?
I'm afraid I lied. Look out!
Oh, 2 more wooden ones, but there's the real one.
You need to recharge. You should learn to count, Ninestein.
Oh dear, he's out of bullets. And she's going to use the cube to taunt him for a bit.
But remember, there'll be another clone to replace me.
And here it comes.
Me to enjoy the moment of your demise. But rest assured,
the next shot will kill you, clone.
And one day, you will be the last clone. Dr. Ninestein.
Yeah, that line of Zelda's was used in the single, I think, of the Terrahawks theme. Here we go, is Zero blown up the cube. And I love this as well.
Thanks, Zero.
Poor old Zero on the cactus.
Ooh, it's a bit of a ouch. Ooh, a prickly situation up here, sir. Ooh, ouch.
Oh dear. But I love that he gets to ride on
He'll be fine.
a little cushion up front in Hudson.
I'm a bit tender in the nether regions.
Not you, Sergeant Major. How's the arm, Tiger?
I'll live.
Yeah, Sam Oaky's rescue was so important that we don't even get to see it. We're just told he's off screen, he's fine. And that's it. Hudson is leaving Badwater County, but...
I just spied a green. That's green. Rolls Royce is on the South Road.
Oh, no!
And that's more than Sheriff Bull can take, and that's the end of Gunfight at Oaky's Corral. And of course, we know that we can understand why Sheriff Bull is so frustrated at Kilroy's report there, because as I can confirm from one of these lovely diplomas that were on the wall in his office, he has one of these diplomas to certify that he has never seen a Rolls Royce even in Badwater County in over 20 years. So he doesn't want to have wasted all that time that he spent studying for this. There you go, a little bit of backstory there on Sheriff Bull. I love that they were slipping little jokes like that into the set. I'm really happy to own some things from this episode. I don't have too much in the way of props and bits and pieces. As for this episode, it's okay, you know, it's not quite as dull as some of the early episodes. Getting towards the sillier stuff later on, some nice stuff with Zero. Nice to have a bit more of a location for where all this stuff is happening with the introduction of Badwater County. Good old Deputy Kilroy and Sheriff Bull.